Alright, well, good morning, folks. It's about 9:15 in the morning. I got up and got Rusty situated, and now I am making coffee. And in just a bit, I'm going to cook some not sausage. Well, yeah, sausage, gravy, and biscuits. Okay, let me show you my coffee setup. So, like I say, I'm not a huge coffee drinker, but I've gotten a little bit more fond of it. I've got this is my little coffee setup, little Stanley pour over coffee maker. Alright, so last night it rained a little bit, nothing major. It was more just a slow dripping rain than anything, but you could hear it bouncing off the tent. Of course, got up this morning and everything was a little bit damp, but nothing bad. I mean, my chair is not even wet. But Rusty, he's over there prowling around. There's his little playpen. So plan today is still do some hiking, try to do some fishing. We'll see. I did set up a trail cam last night out here, and I set it up right there, and it was taking lots of pictures, but the only pictures of anything I got so far, I've looked through a few of them, there was a pretty good buck that was walking around back there and a gray fox. So not Sasquatch. Unfortunately. No. But no, I mentioned before, the last time I came to this park was in the summer. And in the evenings, the deer would just come out and graze. Let me show you. So the deer would come out and they would graze like in these areas right here and right around some of the empty camping sites. And I will include some pictures of those from the previous trip just to show you how crazy it was. And alright, I'm going to fix my coffee, and then I'm going to get started on breakfast, and then probably go sooner than later and get some firewood, because I burnt every bit of what I had last night. It was a nice fire. And so hopefully this cloudy weather will move on out here in a bit, and it'll kind of warm up. It's supposed to be in the 70s today. My allergies are definitely giving me heck, but yeah, it's gonna be a fun day. Well, I'm in the tent, and you could probably hear, but it's actually raining again. This time it was legitimate. I tried to set it out for a little bit and finish my breakfast, but it started raining pretty good. I had to get my Blackstone put up and get Rusty inside, and well, in the middle of it all, I had a boo-boo. See all that? Biscuits and gravy right on the tent floor. So as soon as this weather chills out, I guess I'll go and get a paper towel to clean it up. So yeah, it's not supposed to rain very long. It's kind of letting up some right now, but for sure it put a damper on my breakfast this morning, which really the breakfast was not as good as I had really wanted it to be. I was going to have biscuits and gravy, and the biscuits actually turned out pretty good. Little black on the bottom, considering I cooked them on a burner in a Dutch oven. But I just put a little bacon grease in there and swirled it around so that it would coat the bottom of the Dutch oven, and put the biscuits in there and let them cook on the burner for a little while, and then set them off to the side, and they actually continued to cook inside the hot Dutch oven. But where I ran into problems with was with the gravy. And I have made, I don't know how much gravy over the years between, on the stove. And I started out, I put some bacon grease in the pan, swirl it around, let it melt, because I buy that bacon up stuff. So anyway, I had plenty of bacon grease in there and started easily adding my flour. Well, then a big old lump fell down into the skillet, more than I needed, and I did not have enough. I was trying a new recipe, which that in itself is a lesson. Never try something new if you've never done it before on a camping trip when you only have when you have unlimited resources. So anyway, I had all this flour in there, and so and it was like a literal paste. It wasn't a roux at all. But I thought, I can salvage it. Well, then I decided to use heavy cream instead of milk. That was the difference that I did than my typical gravy that I make. And it was about halfway frozen because it had been sitting in the cooler on top of the ice bricks. So yeah, I could not get that crap to turn into gravy. It was really more like a gravy flavored goop. But you know what? Screw it. I ate it. It tasted like gravy, and it was a good breakfast until it fell on the floor. And so yeah, you adapt and overcome. But yeah, so let's see what this weather does. I think it's, like I say, it's supposed to clear out and get sunny and get up into the 70s. And once it does that, who knows? I for sure will try to do a hike and maybe try to do a geocache. I want to try to fish. If I don't get any fishing done today, as long as I'm out of the campsite by 11, I can stay as long as I want. And so, in the park. So I might do that. I might try to pack everything up and go over to the fishing pier and fish for a little bit. Anyway, just thought I'd check in. Alright, folks. So the sun has finally come out, and I think it's time to go for a walk. So let's go see this park. Alrighty. So, like I say, it rained earlier, maybe for half an hour. It wasn't very long. It's supposed to be done for the day, but I don't know. I'm deciding on how I want to do things. If I want to do things toward the way I originally planned, or if I just want to just enjoy just hanging out on the car. Anyway, so let's take a. So there is a playground right across the way from me, but there are kids over there right now, and I'm not going to record them because I don't like to record people other than myself, because it's just an invasion of privacy. Let's walk over here. Alright, so I noticed a while ago, if you go through this campsite, which it did have an occupant earlier, but now it's empty. The guy packed up earlier after it rained and left. So I'm down a neighbor finally. But let me flip you around here. Okay. So as you can see, you can get down to these rocks. You can get down to those rocks over there. There's people there right now, and they're actually doing some fishing down there. I. 'Cause. 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 'C Alright, so let me talk a little bit about my camera. Since the last video, big video anyway, I have actually upgraded my camera stuff a little bit. I'm still using the same GoPro 10, and I really like it. But I finally got all of the accessories to make it a better camera. I've got a lens now, and I've got like the screen that sets up on top of the media mod. And so now it's a little bit more. I know that screen, or not the screen, the lens is crazy, the difference in the way the video looks from it. So hopefully you guys will see that. But you can hear the kids playing in the background. Like I say, I'm not going to be filming them. But unlike the last time, I really have not seen all the deer come out in the morning or the evening. But hopefully I'll see some tonight. But and I think I mentioned it earlier in the video, but I did get a couple good trail cam pictures. But yeah, it's turning out to be pretty nice so far this day. Let's see, is there anybody in this? Well, there's a campsite here that looks kind of empty right now, but there's a tablecloth on the picnic table. But I'm trying to find a really good spot where I can kind of go down to the lake without having to go through somebody's campsite if they're there. So, trying to think, there was something I wanted to talk about. Oh, so you've heard me mention David Pallades and the missing 411 stuff. So, about a month ago, he released a video on his YouTube page, and basically he has partnered with a another filmmaker, and he's releasing a documentary called American Sasquatch. And their hope is this will be like one of the best serious investigations into the Sasquatch stuff. But I've watched a lot of David's videos on YouTube, watched all 3 of his documentaries, and the man he seems to be an interesting guy. I know there are some people that try to talk crap about the stuff he does, but you know what? I've noticed that about people that deal in like the paranormal field. It's like everybody is trying to get one up on everybody else, and they end up doing some really just crappy things to each other. You know, it's like they're all trying to prove that stuff is real, but sometimes they're more interested in fighting each other than they are working together to, do whatever. I'm going to show you something real quick in this campsite. It's empty, so should be no problem. And to be honest, and also, heads up, the cedar smells amazing out here. That's all I can smell is cedar. But check this out. So, somebody built this little wooden chair here. Isn't that cool? Yeah, I was like, wow, that's nice. Wish my campsite had that. Well, anyway, but yeah, it just blows me away though. There's so many fields that are like that. People they just can't get along. They would rather fight than to work together. I don't know why. Anyway, oh Lord, there's a lot of people over here. I was hoping I would be able to go down to the old campsite I stayed in, but I think it's occupied, so I'm not going to. I don't really feel like getting people in my video and whatnot, but I'm still going to continue to try to find a way down to the lake. And I'm not. Everything is occupied, so let's say we're just gonna walk on back towards camp, and I'll go down through that where those rocks were. Gosh, this cedar, man. If anybody loves the smell of cedar, this is the place for you right now. But it's really a beautiful day today. It's not too windy. Still a tad bit chilly, but not uncomfortable. It's going to be in the 70s, like I said, in a little while. But the sun is on its way out. Trying to, anyway. Well, we can probably get a good view of the lake from right here. Let's go here. Let's go this way. What's funny about this park, some of the campsites are terrible. But they try to compensate by doing something different. Like this one is a perfect example. All right, so you see, there's your fire ring, and it's like right off the side of this pavilion here where your picnic table is, which that's really nice. This is kind of like the campsite I stayed in several years ago. It had the nice covered picnic table area, and then our fire pit was off kind of in the boonies, and of course we couldn't use it because of the fire ban. And then they've actually got a barbecue grill, which I don't, at my campsite. But let's take a peek at the lake. Let's see if I can get a little bit closer to the lake without falling down the hill. Actually, right over there is a nice little way down. All right, let's see here. Yeah, you would think they would build some kind of like legitimate steps to come down here. Otherwise, you're liable to end up in the lake if you're not careful. All right, this is nice right here. I don't know how the fishing would be here in this area. Probably not very good because I got all them rocks. A lot of big rocks down there. And as you can see, man, this place it's a beautiful lake. I'm not really sure where Hell's Gate is from here. When I get into the editing of this video, I will try to include maybe a picture of a map for Devil's Gate or Hell's Gate, however you want to call it. But yeah, there's like a really pretty house over there with the flag and the waving. But yeah, it's beautiful. Real beautiful. All right, hopefully going back up is easier than coming down. Yep, definitely easier. So I didn't bring Rusty with me on this little walk. He's still super young. and very, very much untrained. I love the little fella, but while I was trying to cook dinner last night and breakfast this morning, he was right under my feet and I stepped on him more than once. Felt bad. So I put him in his kennel in the tent, and I'll go back out and get him in a minute, let him run around. But I really wanted a dog to start bringing with me on these trips. There's just something about having a dog with you. Yeah, it's fun having people with you, but there's just something different about having a good time with your dog, you know, playing with them, taking them out and letting them run around, and, you know, plus they alert you. But let's check this place out here. Now this campsite is even worse than the last one, to be honest. It's basically just a concrete slab. Hold on a second. So, as you can see, it's just a concrete slab with a picnic table and a fire pit back there that's almost like an afterthought. But they have a nice view of the lake. Yeah. Let's see, what time is it here? Let me see what time it is. All right, 12:20, I believe. 12:30, something like that. Let's see here. I just want to see this watch. Okay, 12:21. I love my smart watch. It's a Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 Pro. It has been very good to me, but sometimes it's smarter than its own good for it. It's too smart for its own good. But yeah, I'm gonna go back. Probably gonna hang out at camp for just a little bit. I need to go get some firewood for tonight's fire because I burnt both bundles. And I got to go get firewood, and then I'll probably eat lunch. Which for lunch I'm cheating. I'm gonna eat a Mountain House, and then I might go out for a hike here in a bit. I don't know. I have to look at the map and see what hiking path is what. But anyway, I'm gonna go back to the campsite, gonna eat lunch, let Rusty out. So I came down here to this area where the rocks are, and look at that big boy flying. Heck yeah. God bless America. But yeah, check this place out. This is a neat little area, man. And this campsite has access to it. I will definitely be, that's something else I'm going to do this weekend. I'm going to try to walk around, drive around, whatever, and make note of all the good campsites that I find. Some of them are just, I don't know, that was kind of an issue I seen before with this park. It's just hard to find a good one. I mean, it's a great park. It's huge and has a nice beach area, but except for the big rocks anyway. But yeah, it's an older park, and I'm not gonna lie, the facilities here have not been taken care of. The park staff does the best they can, but you know, it's like my campsite. I'm gonna have to pick up some stuff before I leave. People's left, like some beer caps and whatnot. But anyway, just thought I would come down here and show you guys this little area since I didn't get to a while ago. Got my Mountain House meal started. It's chicken Alfredo. Let's see what it looks like. Alright, look at that. I mean, it don't look terrible. Not too bad at all, really. I've tasted a little bit when I stirred it, but it's not terrible, really. Alright, so I'm going to let this thing do its thing for a little bit longer, and then I'm going to button stuff up here at camp for a little while and go hiking probably. I need to look to see what the geocaches here are. I don't know how many there are. Probably a few, but we'll see. I might go try to look for that. But otherwise, just hanging out. Went and got the firewood. I don't really know if I'm going to do the hike. I think I'm going to wait. I did not sleep well last night. I just never could get comfortable. My hands were bothering me. I've got carpal tunnel syndrome really bad, and so they were bugging me. So, but what I am going to do, because I've never done this, and people probably need to realize that I'm actually doing the things I'm doing. So I'm going to go ahead and build my fire the way I did last night that I typically do. And I'm going to do it on camera. And then this evening, I will light the thing on camera. So I'm going to switch to the GoPro now. I've already got some pretty good logs laid out. And yeah, I've got some paper trash in there. I'm going to walk over here real quick. I'm getting my stuff I use to start my fire with. And I will not be cooking on this fire, by the way. I'm only going to be enjoying it. Let me make sure that this thing is actually working. Hello, can you hear me? All right, just testing. All right. So once I get to this point, I typically get my fire started, and I'm just using regular fat wood. I really like fat wood. And I'm going to do a mini log cabin, but I'm going to do this first. So I'm going to do a mini log cabin with this, and then I have found this makes the best combination when it comes to starting a fire like this. I take me, let's see here, here we go. I take a tumbleweed and I stick down there, just right there. And I've got a couple that need to go, so we're just going to go all out tonight. We're going to use 2 of them. All right. So, and I've got my fire starter in one of these little handy dandy waterproof boxes from Walmart. I'll show it to you. See, this is the little box here. Handy dandy little box, waterproof. And then I've got a plastic Walmart brand ammo can looking thing. All right, now that I've got my little mini log house set up down there, I'm going to build the real log house. Do that one. And I'm going to start out with another one over here. And then I'm going to use a couple of these small ones, I think. I'm not going to use all my big ones yet. They'll go on as we burn. But I'll put one more small one on top. All right, and so there we go. My log cabin. All right, well, like I say, later on, we will light this bad boy. It's still pretty early now, and I am not wasting it. But we got plenty of wood left over to put on it as it dies down. And so we will check it out when we light it. Well, welcome back. So it's just after 5. Clouded up a good bit. But it's not supposed to rain. The weather assures us it's not going to rain tonight. Hopefully that's the case. But it's dinner time, so I'm going to be making some chili. Now, when it comes to chili, being a Texan, I'm very adamant about how it's made. I don't do beans in chili. Usually I don't do tomatoes. I'll do tomato sauce. I don't put any kind of, I try to make it, like if I ever did a chili competition, I try to make it that way. But regardless, it's all about how it tastes and how you like it. So anybody like beans in your chili, eat beans, more power to you. You do you, boo. I'm going to steal that phrase from someone I know. But like I said, make some chili. And I've got all kinds of stuff here to put in it. I'm going to do some coarse ground beef in it. That way I get a little bit of the best of both worlds. Usually I'll put ground beef, stew meat, and if I find it, the coarse ground beef. Well, this time I'm just going to do all coarse ground beef. I'm going to use this Kinder's wood-fired chili seasoning as my base. And then I've got some good, yummy bone broth I'm going to use to give it even more flavor. And I'm going to put some diced tomatoes in it, the fire roasted. But, of course, I've got plenty of spices to put in it. Yeah, lots of pretty much everything in these two, not all of it, but pretty much a bit of everything in these containers will go in the chili. And of course, you can't have chili without Fritos. So really, it's going to be Frito pie. But, like I say, I'm going to get started. I'm going to move the camera over to the Blackstone, and I'll see you there. So I've added a bunch of the seasonings to the meat, and it's almost completely browned, but just need to stir it around. I'll probably have to I can either drain the grease off now, or once it's cooled off after I eat, I could let it just sit out and let the grease collect on the top. I've done that before. It'll just be a greasy first bowl. Alright, so we got Worcestershire sauce, bone broth, and then the tomatoes. And to thicken this stuff up later, I've got corn masa flour. So this actually calls for a cup of water and then the whole can of tomatoes, juice and all. I'm not putting the tomato juice in there. I'll substitute the beef broth for the water, and we'll go from there. But It's definitely going to be some meaty chili. But I'm going to go ahead and add the packet. And I've used this stuff a couple times. For being a pre-made chili mix, it's actually really good. Has a good flavor, good spices. So, yeah, it smells really good. But I'm going to go ahead and add it. Like I say, it's just my base. Once I get the everything else in, I will add my own touches. But this definitely has a very smoky smell and flavor to it. But I don't know if you can see that, but you see it's getting nice and red. Typically, I eat my chili very spicy. This probably won't be all that spicy. Alright, so yeah, I tend to gloss over my cooking on these trips, and so I made a valid effort to actually show myself cooking this time. That way, like with the fire, I don't want people to say, "Well, this dude don't ever show anything." Oh, he's always showing the beginning and end, and nothing in between. So how do we know he's the one that's actually doing all this? Well, I'll have to kind of drop some back there. It'll have to stay. All right. So that's in there. Now I'm going to add a little bit of this Lee and Perrins. Love Worcestershire sauce, but not much. I don't want it to be overpowered. And because I'm a taste, I won't know what else to do to it season-wise until after I've got it where I can actually taste it. But just from smelling it, I can tell it needs a little bit more Worcestershire sauce. Who's your sister? Shire sauce, as I've heard it called. I meant to bring some liquid smoke, and I completely forgot it. That'll be all right. It smells like chili already. Definitely doesn't look like it yet, though. There's really not going to be much grease in this. It's kind of cooked off, to be honest. But time to add the beef broth. This stuff is super good, even if you're just wanting to drink it. All right, there's that. I mean, that's pretty thick already. Might not need that extra water or anything. But, all right, I'm going to open this can of tomatoes and we'll drain that. So I've used a can opener like this my whole life, never been questioned on it whatsoever. And I had someone tell me one time that I was using it all wrong. Well, not long after that, after being shown how it's supposed to be used and watching people use it like that, can opener didn't work anymore. So, all right, I'm going to drain this into this so I don't worry about it being everywhere. You know what? That's actually fairly thick. Let's use it. I was expecting it to be super watery. So it'll work. It'll be alright. Let's see here. And that is almost too much stuff for this little pot. But it'll be good. We'll let this stuff sit here and simmer for a while. Because a good chili doesn't, you can't make a good chili in, a little while. It has to be for a bit. All right. So, chili's cooking. I'm going to let it cook. And whenever it gets done, I'll show it to you guys. Alrighty, so dinner was great. I might have failed at making sausage, gravy, and biscuits, but I did not fail in the chili. It was pretty good, and there's plenty left over, so it will be going home. But right now, I believe it's time for a fire. Let's light this sucker. And I don't play around with like a ferro rod or a little lighter. I want it done. So alright. Let's light this bad boy. Right into there, and look at that. Perfect. Alright, look at that bad boy burn. And there's enough dang paper towels and toilet paper in that thing to keep it going for a year. But yeah, I did the same thing last night. And that thing burned till like midnight. Of course, I kept adding logs, but I was cold. Alrighty, so once again, another fine day of camping. Had some good food. It's all wonky. Had some good food. Did not accomplish near what I wanted to, but you know what? Like somebody told me I was talking to earlier. When I told them, I haven't got as much done on this trip as I would have wanted to. They were like, well, you don't have to. And that's true, The point of all this is enjoying myself in nature, having fun, getting back to God, and just enjoying what life should be like. Anyway, so I'm gonna sit out here and enjoy this fire. I've got 2 special drinks left. The cider from last night that I showed you guys, and also one more of the sours I showed y'all. So I've got two of those. I had a sour earlier, but I'm gonna sit here and enjoy the fire. Actually, you know what? Before I leave, I will talk a little bit. So, it being the Halloween season, I should talk about Halloween, even though I'm a day late. When I was a kid, I loved Halloween. I would always want to go trick-or-treating as I got older. It was all about the scary movies, but I've kind of gone out of that the last couple of years. But I had actually planned to do some Halloween stuff with this trip. I was going to get a jack-o'-lantern, and I wasn't going to be able to carve one. I was going to do the one of the plug-in ones, and I bought one and it sucked. And so then I went in my closet and found one I'd bought years ago that was in pretty good shape, but I ended up not bringing it. Anyway, so I was going to do all that. I even had a t-shirt I was going to wear last night for the story, and I forgot it. Well, I didn't really forget, I just decided not to do it. It was a Camp Crystal Lake shirt, so I was going to pretend like I was at Crystal Lake. And so yeah, ended up I forgot so many things on this trip. You know, nothing really went bad. I can honestly say so far, this trip to Possum Kingdom has been hands down 100% better than the first time I came here. It's just been a nice, quiet, well, I say quiet on my end. There's been lots of kiddos and folks. I mean, this place has been busy all weekend long. This is why I've decided, really, my favorite time to go on a camping trip is in the middle of the week. We'll see. Anyway, real quick though, I was going to talk about a movie, and this is an old movie, been around since '87, and I rewatched it this week, kind of as a Halloween thing, and that is The Lost Boys with Kiefer Sutherland, Corey Feldman, Corey Haim, Jason Patrick, and Diane Wiest is the mom. And like I say, it's been several years since I watched it. Used to love the movie when I was a kid, and not gonna lie, I still love that freaking movie. There's just so many good lines in that movie, especially at the end when the old man, the grandpa, they go in there and he just walks through after he just drove through his own house, killed the head vampire, and he just walks in there in the refrigerator, grabs his root beer out of his little section, takes a drink. Of course, everybody's standing there. They're all covered in blood and soot from an explosion, and they're just like, well, you know, like, Grandpa. And he just kind of looks at him and he says, you know what? He's like, that's the one thing I've never been able to stomach about living in Santa Clara. All the damn vampires. Anyway, great line, great movie, very 80s. A lot of awesome songs on the soundtrack. And then, of course, there's the dude in the movie that's playing the saxophone, all beefed up, and yeah, that is just some 80s stuff through and through. But anyway, if you haven't seen the movie, I recommend it. It's a great movie. It's super fun. Last night, while I was laying in the tent, I watched part of Sleepy Hollow, which is another good Halloween movie. I mean, it's not really all about Halloween. It's about the legend of Sleepy Hollow, but it's still very Halloween appropriate. And I had also downloaded Trick or Treat, the one from, I think it was like 2009, where it's like several different stories about, and you got the little what you think is a little kid in a costume that has like a pumpkin on his head. It's another one of those great Halloween. I mean, it's like a quintessential Halloween movie. You know, with all the atmosphere in the movie, all the things they do. It's definitely a great Halloween movie. And I didn't get to it last night. In fact, I ended up going to sleep after I had a phone conversation with someone for a little while. And I started the movie before I talked to her. And then after we got done talking, it was so late that I fell asleep. And so I didn't get to finish the movie and didn't get to watch the other one. Anyway, so yeah, it's been a great trip. The next one I've already got set up. I guess what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say I'm on the Hogtown Camping, what was the word I was just thinking of? Revisit or reunion tour. And so I guess what that's all about is, you know, this is the first park I've returned to that I camped at before I started the channel. And so this is the first video I've made here. And so I think I'm going to start revisiting some of the other parks that I've gone to, just to show you guys how cool those parks are, because of all the ones I've been to, this one I wasn't as happy with, but this time has been great. Even though I haven't done nearly the amount of stuff I wanted to. In fact, this has been a lazy trip, through and through. You know, I did some walking earlier, and you'll see that in the video. But yeah, I'm revisiting other parks. The next one, like I say, is in the works. I've got a site. Actually, I've got the same site reserved at Abilene State Park, and this is, wait till you guys see this campsite. It is amazing. I mean, it was the perfect campsite. It was kind of secluded from other campsites, but still close enough to the facilities that you didn't have to walk real far. And the park is just super cool itself. It's a beautiful park. But yeah, I'll be staying in the same campsite that I stayed in the first time. And this will actually be the third time I've stayed at that park. The second time, I think I might have mentioned previously that we stayed in a yurt, and that was kind of neat. Anyway, that's on the horizon. That'll be New Year's Eve. And then I think next year, after the first, I'm going to look at going back to some of the other parks I've been to, that, like Meridian State Park's a good one that I'm really looking forward to going back to. Mineral Wells, Lake Mineral Wells is an amazing park. Want to go back there. And let's see. I think that's pretty much it, you know. This is the first stop on the revisiting tour, I guess you could call it. So we'll see how the next ones go. But anyway, I've talked enough. I'm going to show you the fire and how it's doing. Look at that. What a great fire. And still have plenty of wood to make it a great night all around on this fire. Oh, let me show you this. My lantern's actually charged up enough during the day. Yeah, see that? I love those things. They only cost like 17 bucks at Walmart, like dang near 3-4 years ago, but I have used them at every camping trip I've been on except for the stealth camps. Oh, anyway, tomorrow morning I'll get up and have to try to reload this 4Runner. It took me 2 days to load the stupid thing, and unload it took all of about an hour. But I won't be taking back a few things, you know. So anyway, get it loaded up first thing in the morning, and then I'm probably going to head over to close to the swimming area. There's a big fishing pier, so I'm going to go over there and try to get some fishing done. But I think that's it for tonight. If something comes up while I'm sitting here, I will definitely check back in with you guys. Otherwise, I will see you in the morning. So, good night. Well, good morning, folks. All right. So it's the 2nd of November. It's about 7 a.m. It turned off pretty cold last night. Wasn't supposed to. I think it got down into the upper 30s, and it was supposed to be in the upper 40s. So needless to say, it was a little chilly. I got up this morning and turned the buddy heater on so that me and Rusty could warm up a little bit better. But yeah, it was a good day yesterday. Trail camera didn't pick up anything last night. I don't know if there just wasn't anything prowling around. They were probably trying to stay warm. Anyway, I'm gonna start taking things down and getting loaded up. I'm probably not gonna hang around too much this morning. It's just, I'm just exhausted, to be honest. The last 2 nights have not been good as far as sleeping goes. I was plenty comfortable. It was just the carpal tunnel syndrome flaring up in my hands, and so, yeah, is what it is. But overall, I can say this trip has been a good trip. It definitely redeemed the previous trip to this park. So that's great. That's what I wanted. I wanted a good memory from this place. And like I said, I'm going to revisit some of the other parks that I had attended before I started the channel and show you guys those, especially Meridian, because it is a beautiful place. Alright, well, I think that's going to be it for this video. I appreciate you guys watching and sticking with me as I go through my somewhat inept camping videos, but hey, I enjoy it. I'm having fun, and as long as I'm getting people interested in camping, oh well, that's all that matters. But yeah, I'm gonna call an end. I'm gonna get packed up and head home and probably go to bed. So until next time, which will be in December, the end of December, New Year's Eve, over in Abilene State Park. But until then, keep camping. If you like and want to support the channel, just give us a like and a follow. Look down below. I've got some t-shirts available in my shop, a few other things. So, all right, till next time.